Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for this Flash Talk event. We're really happy that you could make some time to be here to learn a little bit more about student life at Kent State. My name is Sarah Sutter. I'm an international admissions counselor here at Kent State, and we have two special guests joining me today. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
My name is Zara. I'm a junior majoring in paralegal studies with a minor in pre law.
And what country are you from?
I'm from Pakistan.
Hi, my name's Laissa. I'm a double major in neuroscience and psychology, and I'm from Brazil.
Thank you so much for being here today. I know a lot of our guests are really curious about what it's like to be a student at Kent State, so we'd like to talk a little bit about that. If any of you have questions as we go, please feel free to put those in the chat. We can answer those today too, but we also have some scheduled content we will be talking about as well. So first, can both of you tell me why you decided to study at Kent State? There's a lot of universities that invite international students, so why did you pick Kent?
For me, my major was psychology, and there were a lot of research opportunities that I really liked, and a few of professors that I worked with personally that made my resume go very high up for graduate school.
Yeah, that's awesome.
For me, it was because the university that I was a part of in Brazil has a partnership with Kent State, and that's the program that that I came from. And um, with that, there were a lot of scholarships and all of that. So that's why I decided to come to Kent State.
Yeah, that's great. We're so happy you made that decision. So in general, what do you think about the classes and coursework at Kent State?
I think it's pretty nice. Professors are very understanding. As long as you go to class and you do your assignments on time, you can make through them very easily.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that as long as they can see that you're doing your part, they're happy to help and do their part as well. I met with several professors, and they were always understanding if I had a late assignment or something like that. They are always happy to help.
Did you feel this was different from the education system in your home countries at all, or do you think it's similar?
It's very different for
Mhm.
me, especially because in our home countries, our teachers are very strict.
Mhm.
And we usually have like one final exam and all like assignments and then projects. Plus, it's more difficult to communicate well with teachers than it is here.
Mhm.
For me, the I feel like the biggest difference is not necessarily like the professors, because for us, our professors are also always like glad to help and not all that strict.
Mhm.
But I think that the biggest difference would probably be the grading system. I feel like it's really hard to get a good grade here, and whenever you don't get a good grade, it kind of drops your entire score down.
Mhm.
So that was a big difference for me. In while in my country, a bad grade wouldn't like impact you all that much.
Hmm, that's really interesting. Okay. And you said you generally find the professors helpful. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
I think if you come to a professor with an issue, they're more than happy to help you. And even if you're like sick or you have something else come up, they're very understanding with attendance and assignments. Like, I have a professor this semester and she's been very helpful
Mhm.
because I've been sick a lot. But yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things for me, at least.
Yeah, for me too. Like this semester specifically, I misunderstood one of the assignments because I have two classes that are really similar. For one of my classes, they both had an assignment that had the same name, and
Mhm.
for one of my classes, it was required, and for the other one, it was optional. And I
Okay.
misunderstood, and I ended up doing the wrong one.
Oh
So
no.
then I reached out to my professor, and she was really nice. She helped me. She made sure that I was able to do everything within like a timely manner. So yeah, they were always, every time that I reached out, they're always glad to help.
Yeah, that's awesome. So while you've been at Kent State, have you had any notable moments with your classmates, like something funny or interesting that happens?
I think for me, not with my classmates, but one of my bestest friends I met through the international orientation.
Hmm.
So I think as soon as I met her, we clicked. And that's one of the most notable moments, at least in Kent for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Um, I thought a lot about this, and I honestly, I'm not sure because I've had ups and downs.
Hmm.
I can't. I feel like struggling with um, being away from home and being in a different country, um, and then at the same time meeting a bunch of different people from all over the world. I think that that's one of the things that I like the most about Kent State is that you can meet someone and they can be from like miles away from where you're from or even
Hmm.
from here. So I think that will probably be one of my highlights.
Yeah, that's a good point. This wasn't a planned question, but it's a really important one with what you brought up. So, how have you handled the homesickness or loneliness when you've been here? Because that can be really challenging.
I
um,
think, oh, go
oh,
ahead.
sorry.
Both of you, yeah. Go ahead,
You can go
Laissa.
ahead first.
Oh, okay. So, for me, it wasn't really difficult for the first semester because my
Hmm.
grandmother was here. Well, not with me, but she was like an hour away from me.
Hmm.
But after that, it was pretty bad for me because I was really homesick, and I still get homesick sometimes. And I think I handled that by like calling my family, hanging out with my friends, going out, just not like staying at home
Yeah.
because it sometimes makes it worse.
Hmm.
So I think, yeah.
For me, the biggest difference, I think, is not necessarily being away from family, because I'm kind of used to that because I moved out when I was really young.
Hmm.
Um, I think that it's more so culture. There's a very different culture here.
Hmm.
And even though there's a lot of similar things, there's also a lot of things that are very, very different.
Hmm.
And also the weather. Today we
Yeah.
had our first snow day,
Yes. Yeah.
and the cold makes me very lazy. So being here sometimes I feel like I just don't want to do anything, and I
Hmm.
think that that was part of it. Um, a mixture of everything, the weather, being away from like totally different food that you can eat here.
Hmm.
People are different, even though a lot of people are very friendly, it's not the same warmth that I feel in Brazil.
Yes.
So it's it's I guess it's a process and you have to adapt.
Yeah, definitely. I see some questions in the chat about scholarships and fee waivers. So our chat today should be focused about student life and questions about that. So if you have any questions about other topics that don't relate to student life, I'll ask you to email us. So you can contact us at intladm@kent.edu. We're happy to help you, but we'd like to focus about student life today since we have two of our global ambassadors with us. So thank you. Okay. What do you think of campus in general?
I think it's very big. So the first time that you come here, you're very confused on where everything is. And but it's very open. So like you might have classes in different departments, and it's not always your department. So it's very nice to explore it. I really like the library. So that's saying a lot. But yeah.
Um, Honestly, the campus is one of the things that I like the most about Kent State because I feel like it's so open, it's so beautiful, and there's so much nature around.
Mhm.
So like all of the trees, especially during the fall, even though it gets a little bit colder, like the leaves changing color and all of that, that's gorgeous. And every time it makes me feel very happy to be walking around so much nature. Um, and yeah, sometimes in the morning you can hear the birds chirping, which is cool
Hmm.
because that's not something that you get a lot in Brazil if you're from like a big city.
Hmm.
So that's something that I like a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Fall's my favorite season too, and it's
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous to see all the trees on
Mhm.
campus. Do you have any favorite places to eat or study or relax on campus or around in Kent?
For me, I really like the student center. I eat there most of the time. And to study, obviously, I really like the library, especially the individual study rooms. I think they're very helpful. So, yeah.
Um, so on campus, I feel like I haven't like eaten on campus in a long time because
Hmm.
I don't live on campus anymore. So it's a little bit tricky to just go there.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite places to eat back in the day was the DI Hub. I feel
Hmm.
like they have great food, and during breakfast they have like you can make your own omelette and you can choose the ingredients. So that's really nice.
Hmm.
um in downtown, the fruit stand, we have like a place called the fruit stand, and you can make like smoothie bowls and you can add fruits and like toppings. And that's probably one of my favorite places downtown. I love going there, and it also reminds me of home with all of the fruits, and it makes you feel a little bit more tropical.
Yeah.
And with that, I guess Tropical Smoothie Cafe, which is
Mhm.
also downtown, is really nice. And yeah, you I guess you feel a little bit better because you're eating good, and you're also I don't know, you can go there and spend time with your friends, or they have tables so you can go there to study too.
Mhm.
But honestly, my favorite place to study is just at home because I
Yeah.
feel like if I'm around people, I don't focus as well.
Mhm.
um, but definitely the library if I'm not at home. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because then you can rent those individual rooms and it's much quieter.
Yeah. It looks like we have a question from the audience here. I'm not sure if this applies to either of you, but we'll check it out. So, have either of you had any study abroad experience, and when would you recommend it, if so?
This is my study abroad experience.
Yeah.
But I am planning to go study abroad for the spring semester, just for
Mhm.
the spring break.
Mhm.
And it's in my, I'm trying to count it. It's probably my fifth semester. I'm not
Mhm.
sure, but yeah.
Yeah.
I have actually, I went studying abroad in Florence, Italy.
Mhm.
And honestly, that was like the best experience that you could ever have. Because I feel like, I don't know, for me, being here, it's already a study abroad, but at the same time, after being here for so long, it's kind of like already feels like it's no longer studying abroad because you're
Mhm.
already used to everything. Like you don't have to figure anything else out. You already know. So I went studying abroad in the summer. I went to Florence, and honestly, I feel like it depends on you. What like when would you think you would like to do? For me, I think from what I felt, the summer was the perfect time to go if you're like if it's your first time away from home or something like that, and you know, if it's kind of like a first experience, the summer would be the perfect time. But
Mhm.
for me, I feel like it wasn't long enough. So if I had the chance to go again, I would definitely go over the semester, especially because the price is not all that much difference. Of course,
Mhm.
the semester is a longer time, so it's a little bit more expensive. But honestly, it's you can see so much. You can like meet so many new people, learn a different language. I would say that it's one of the richer experiences that I had here.
Yeah. Thank you. And then we have another question from the same user. They said, "How easy is it to explore Kent off campus and nearby places?"
I think it's pretty easy, even if you don't have a car, because there's a lot of facilities like the bus.
Mhm.
And there are many buses that go to the downtown or go to nearby places like Ravenna or Stowe. So it's very easy to explore them. Yeah.
I would say that it's easier over the summer or
Yes.
like when the weather is a little bit warmer,
Hmm.
because now it's starting to get colder and colder, and I already feel like I don't want to leave my house. um, but it's very walkable. I think that every place is really walkable. Like, so as long as you have comfortable shoes, you can go anywhere that is around campus. Um, and yeah, if you like are planning on going to Walmart or something to get groceries, there is a bus that goes straight there. The
Hmm.
only thing that you would probably want to think about is taking like a backpack or like big bags to help you carry all of your groceries. Um, but yeah, I would say that Walmart's probably like the furthest place that you would actually need the bus,
Hmm.
unless if it was because of weather and stuff like that.
Perfect. And then we have another question here. As a student at the Kent State University, what was your experience being a new student and how were you able to blend with other students?
I think for me it was very exciting. Like, it was my first time being away from a lot of people, being in a culture that wasn't mine. And for me, I was able to blend with a lot of people that are like from similar cultures as me
Hmm.
because it was easier to get along with them. And after a while, I did try to get along with other people too, and I it worked out pretty well for me.
Well, when I came to Kent State, I came with friends because we were all a part of the same program in Brazil. So that part wasn't so hard. I would say that like it was harder for me to actually meet with different people. Um, because when I came, I already knew like 5 or 6 people that came from the same country as me. So we always had someone to hang out with. Um, but meeting someone else, I feel like it's a little bit tricky, especially if you're more on the shy side or like the introvert side. Because I don't talk to people in my classes. I'm like, I go to class, I sit there, I listen, take notes, and that's it. I don't really talk to anyone. So for me, it's more so like you have to come talk to me, otherwise, I won't say much. Um, but I took this leadership class, and honestly, I would say that even if you don't plan on getting like leadership positions on campus, that is a perfect class for you to meet other people from like a variety of places and also get like leadership skills and honestly just like any type of skills that you would need in a career in the future. So like time management and communication and all of that. That was great, and that's actually how I met my boyfriend, which was really nice. And also met some other friends that we still talk to every day. um, so yeah, I would say that if you don't feel like talking in the other classes, that's definitely a class that I recommend taking.
Yeah, excellent. Just a reminder, I see a lot of questions regarding applications and funding. So if you have any questions about that, please email us at intladm@kent.edu. Today, we're trying to focus more about like the student life and experience. So please try to keep your questions towards that. And for anything else, just email us and we'll be happy to help. I did see one more question in our comments here. They said, as a student, how did you deal with transportation? Would you say it's better to own a car or to use public transportation?
To be honest, it's better to own a car because public transportation it will take you anywhere. I mean, but going to places like Walmart or any place else, you have to carry a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
And in the first semester, it was a big struggle for me. I remember at one point, one of my friends fell down the bus with strawberries.
Oh no.
As funny as it was a struggle. So
Mm,
I'd suggest owning a car is way better, but it'll take you a while to like own a car here. So you might have to get used to the public transportation for a while.
mhm. Okay. I have another question here. I learned that as a student, you can take an on campus job. Did you take any on campus jobs? And if yes, how were you able to cope with your schoolwork and the job?
Um, For me, I have taken on-campus jobs. This is my on-campus job.
Hmm.
But yeah, I have this, and I'm also a peer advisor leader. So I can cope with my academic activities because I focus on both and I try to plan each day, which is very hectic some days, but I try my best to balance both of them. I don't work that many hours. I try to keep them to a minimum like 12 hours because I really need to focus on going to law school. So it's difficult, but I think if you focus well on not taking a lot of hours and then focusing on your academics, it'll work out.
Yeah, so I actually had a lot of jobs on campus. Um, the one thing that you need to know is that for international students, your hours are very restrict. So you're only allowed to work 20 hours per week,
Hmm.
which is not bad. I mean, I'm able to pay for my rent with it. Obviously, it depends on where you live. But for me, I'm able to pay for my rent and everything with that. And honestly, I would just say make your resume and apply to as many jobs as you can. Like if you think that you'll be good at it, um, because that definitely increases the chances of you getting it. And for balancing it with student life, I would say it's not that hard. A lot of the jobs on campus allow you to study while like doing your job. So like for me, one of my positions, I'm a receptionist, and as long as I'm done with all of my job responsibilities, I can do my homework or something like that. But that is not for every job. Like you have to make sure that you're doing your job responsibilities first, and definitely asking your boss if that's something that they allow. um, but yeah, if that's something you're worried about, I would definitely look for those jobs that say that you're allowed to study while on your job.
Perfect. I'll handle this question. So they asked if undergraduate students can have an on-campus job. Yes, both graduate and undergraduate students can have an on-campus job. As Laisa mentioned, you can work up to 20 hours per week during the academic term. And then during school breaks, such as winter break, you can work up to 28 hours. So they do tend to pay close to minimum wage. It's not a huge amount of money, but it can help with your living expenses like your rent or your food. This person asks, can you describe Kent State University in 3 words?
I'd say diverse. Um, that's the only word I can come up with for now. I'm trying to think, but you can go ahead if you want. I'm trying to still.
Well, the first word that came to my mind was community. I feel like there is a big community at Kent State, and everyone's willing to help each other the best way they can.
Mhm.
Um, I thought about the other two, but I forgot. I'm sorry. um, I think I don't know. I feel like I wanted to say something related to nature, but not necessarily nature, more so like the environment, the atmosphere around Kent's really good. I know that's not like exactly a word, but I feel like that's a big part of Kent State. Just like the place itself is, it's really nice and it's a nice place to be. Um, and the third, oh, definitely opportunity. So Kent State has a lot of opportunities for jobs, study abroad, classes, leadership positions, anything that you can think of. We have an opportunity for it. And if you think about it, anything that you want to do that doesn't exist yet, you can always create it. So that's something that I really like about Kent State, that you can talk to people, and if it doesn't exist yet, they will help you make it a thing. So
Mhm.
yeah, I like that.
Perfect. Okay. This question is very relevant today. They said, how is the weather in Ohio? Is the weather too cold? So, what do you
Um,
think?
it gets very cold in from November to at least
Mark?
March.
Mhm.
Yeah, It
Yeah,
gets
March,
very
maybe April.
cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it snows and it's pretty cold. But
Mhm.
I think after a year or two you get used to it and you start liking it. At least for me, I really like the weather. It's better than the hot weather from my country. So
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it depends on where you're from, really. Because, like, too cold, it depends. Because I feel like some people, for them, too cold is actually really cold. But for me, too cold was like 2 weeks ago, and it was like, and I saw people wearing shorts, and I was freezing. So I guess it really depends on you. But it can get really cold. What I feel like is that my first year here was the coldest. Like that I've ever experienced. And the last 2 years weren't so bad. But I mean, it's snowing right now. It's almost Thanksgiving, and I don't know. It seems like it's gonna be a cold winter. Um, but as long as you dress properly, you shouldn't actually feel the cold. It's really only if you go outside because everywhere inside is warm and you should be fine.
Yeah, we highly recommend for students coming from warmer countries. Maybe you don't have winter gear available. If you're coming, especially for the spring semester, we really recommend that you buy good winter clothing once you arrive here. So, a good winter coat and hats and gloves. That really makes a huge difference in your comfort if you have enough warm clothing. So,
And I feel like a lot of it is also learning how to dress for the
hmm
winter because it's not necessarily that you need a lot of layers. It's more so like a good type of clothing. So like
yep.
for me, in the beginning, I would just like put five coats one on top of each other, and that doesn't actually really work, and it's not practical either because once you get inside, you're hot now and you have to take everything out, and then that slows you down. So what I would say is definitely learning how to dress and learning how you like how much you actually need. Because now I feel like for me, all I really need is like a long sleeve shirt, a hoodie, and then I just put a big jacket on top. And
hmm
then that jacket is what I take out once I get inside. So
hmm
it's really learning and adapting to whatever feels best for you.
Perfect. Um, Here's a good question. They said, have you experienced the campus hospital? I think they're talking about the DeWeese Health Center. And if you have any tips to be prepared or keep in mind when going there.
I have actually used it a few times, and I think the only tip that I'd give someone would be filling up the forms beforehand, because once you get there, it takes you at least 15 to 20 minutes just to fill out the forms.
hmm
So if you do them beforehand, they'll just like check you in and you're good to go.
Yeah, Dewey's is definitely not a place to go for emergencies. It's more so, oh, I've had this cold for like 3 days. Maybe I should do something about it. So
Yeah.
then you have to make an appointment and go for it. One thing that I think is cool is that they have vaccinations there. I'm not sure how it is anymore, but it used to be free. Like they had like flu shots and all of that. But I would definitely check on that because that's really nice. When I first came here, I had to get the COVID vaccine and it was free. So that was something cool that they offer. But yeah, definitely just schedule ahead and you can get like same day appointments. You just have to make sure that you're telling them what do you need and yeah. So definitely just go to the app or call. I usually call because I feel like that's more helpful,
hmm
and then they do it for you. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll take one more audience question and then we'll wrap up here since we're running out of time. So here's a good one. If you were to recommend Kent State to another person, what would you say?
I think I would tell them about the community opportunities, everything that she said. I'm just using that in a sentence. But I think, yeah, it's all about how diverse Kin is. Because for me, I was not really sure that I would have any other person than me, at least from my country.
hmm
But this semester, I've met a lot of people from my country. So I tell them how diverse it is, and they're never alone here. So if they reach out, they'll get the help that they need.
Also, I think that one thing that is really important to point out is that you make your experience. You can't come expecting that it's going to be amazing or that it's going to be awful or that it's, I don't know, that you're going to meet new people or that you're not. I think that it's really like you make it the way that you want it. So if you want to make a lot of friends, you have to go get out there and, talk to people and make lots of friends. If you want to study abroad, you have to go after it. So I guess this applies to everything in life, not just Kent State, but I think that it really is what you make of it. Because I've heard some people say bad things about it, but honestly, if you look at the background, you have to think about what are they doing that they had that bad experience.
Mhm. Okay. As we wrap up here, let me just ask you, what is your biggest piece of advice for international students who are coming to Kent State?
I think I would recommend them to like don't have too many expectations. I mean, as nice as it is to come abroad and study, it's better to expect bad things happening too, so that when they happen, you don't freak out that bad.
Hmm.
And also to bring a little bit of home with you,
Hmm.
so that you can at least put it around you and it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
I also think that like going with what Zara said, um, not so much expecting bad things to happen, but more so be prepared for bad things to happen. Because not everything is gonna be like rainbows and unicorns. Sometimes you're gonna have problems and you need to know how to deal with them. So I think that preparing yourself the best that you can is the best way to deal with any situation, because the more prepared you are, the better you are ready to deal with the problems that show up in front of you. So, and the better you are to deal with them, the easier they get solved. So definitely preparation is a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I know there were a lot of audience questions that we unfortunately didn't have time for. I'm so sorry, everyone. But if you have any last questions, feel free to email the International Admissions Team at intladm@kent.edu. We will make sure that you get the information that you need. Thank you very much, Zara and Laissa, for joining us today. We really appreciate you sharing your experiences, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.